Hello, my name is Dr. Lani Watson and I am the Questions Doctor. I'm a philosopher and author. I did my PhD on the topic of questions, and I've been researching, writing and talking about the power and potential of questions for the best part of 2 decades. My book, Q, The Hidden Power of Questions in a World That Wants Answers, is coming out in August 2026, and this channel is dedicated to discussing all the ideas and research that went into writing the book, as well as venturing beyond it to look at many and varied roles that questions play in all our lives. So today I just want to offer a short introduction to basically some of the key ideas, and then in future we're going to be focusing in on how these can be sort of practically used in daily life, including in our personal relationships, in professional roles, in parenting, healthcare, education, as well as in lots of different domains, including neuroscience, psychology, law, social media, technology, AI. All of these are part of the study of questions that I've been involved in. So I'm new to making this kind of social media content, so if you're interested, please do like and subscribe, and of course please do ask any questions in the comments or on social media. This is just a small channel, so I'll be liking and responding to all the comments and questions. Okay, so before we dive into it, I'm going to ask you a question, and just so you know, I'm going to tell you the answer to this question at the end. And the question is this: what is the most searched type of cake in Google? What is the most searched type of cake in Google? And by the way, I am trusting you not to immediately go off and Google this. I will tell you the answer at the end. But if I'm right, you should have at least 2 questions in your mind now. The first one, what is the most searched type of cake in Google? And the second one, okay, so why am I being asked what the most searched type of cake in Google is? I'm going to answer that second question before I answer the first one, and this will tell us something about the hidden power of questions in our lives. Okay, so why am I asking you what is the most searched type of cake in Google? Well, firstly, let's be honest, I'm capturing your attention. I'm targeting and capturing your attention. Questioning is an attentional mechanism, which means that questions capture, questions direct, and questions sustain our attention. They do that when we ask questions privately in our own heads. So say I'm standing in King's Cross Station, wondering where I can get a cup of tea. The question directs my attention to the nearby coffee shops. Or if I search for cake online, my attention is directed, with the help of lots of attention-grabbing algorithms, to cake-based information and websites. These private questions are constantly and subtly shaping and shifting our attention. And questions do this socially as well. For example, when I ask you a question, and you instinctively pay attention to me and to what I'm asking. And of course, we ask each other questions all the time. And when we do this, we're subtly, often unintentionally, shaping and shifting each other's attention. In short, questions exert an attentional force that is extremely hard to resist. This force often goes unnoticed in our everyday activities, in our everyday interactions, but at the same time, it can and is exploited by lots of different people, knowingly or unknowingly, from salespeople to journalists to politicians and barristers, police interrogators, even magicians, and yes, podcasters and YouTubers do this too. In all sorts of interactions, questions play this powerful role in determining what we pay attention to and what we miss. And it is powerful. If I can influence what you notice and what you miss, what you think about, what you're not thinking about, then I have a subtle but significant kind of power. And we actually all have this power, but we don't all intentionally or effectively use it. And my work is first and foremost about helping people to recognise and harness the power of questions for positive change in their lives. And the fact that we all have this power, the fact that we all ask questions, is itself a fact worth paying attention to. So not only are questions familiar to everyone watching or listening to this, but they are ubiquitous across every language, every culture on earth. We all ask questions. We start questioning in the earliest weeks and months of our lives, and we continue until the day we die. This shared practice connects us all in all sorts of important and unexpected ways. And that's especially true because we don't just ask private questions in our own heads. We do something much more intriguing and surprising. We ask each other questions. And that's surprising because it requires us to frequently and freely share information with each other without the prospect of any immediate or explicit reward. So if I'm asking you in person what your favourite philosophy or psychology or life skills YouTuber or YouTube channel or podcast is, you almost certainly give me an answer if you've got one, and you wouldn't expect anything in return except maybe for me to say thanks. In fact, if you do have any recommendations, please do add them in the comments or share on social media. I'll be really interested to hear it. We seek and share information like this all the time without even thinking about it. And this kind of question-based interaction is even more intriguing because, as far as I can tell, we're the only species that does it. Humans are the only species that engages in social questioning. So, strangely enough, my asking you what the most searched type of cake in Google is actually a unique and powerful expression of my humanness, of my humanity, and at the same time it's a recognition of yours. I wouldn't ask a cat or a pigeon or a chimpanzee what the most searched type of cake in Google is, right? I wouldn't ask them for YouTube or podcast recommendations either. But humans ask each other questions all the time, and these questions allow us to recognize and connect with one another. What is your name? How are you? Would you like to think more about the power of questions in your life? These are simple, easy to understand questions, but they bind us and bond us and connect us. And that's powerful. We build our relationships and our social lives in this uniquely human way without even noticing it. And my mission is to shine a bright, bright light on this, helping people to understand and enhance the powerful connectivity of questions. So questions capture and direct our attention, and they connect us as humans. These are some compelling reasons for asking you what the most searched type of cake in Google is. But there's also another reason, and this one is neurochemical. The questions change the chemistry of our brains, especially questions that spark a little curiosity. So I was banking on that question being one that would spark a little curiosity for you. If it did, then something pretty cool happened in your brain. The question activated the reward circuit connected to your hippocampus and released a small hit of dopamine. So, in other words, it should have felt good, although you probably didn't notice. And more to the point, this activity in your hippocampus puts your brain in a state of readiness to learn. When you're curious about a question, your brain basically starts preparing to receive the answer. And this state of readiness means that you're better able to encode the information when you receive it, and you're also better able to recall it later on. So when I tell you the answer to the Google cake question very shortly, I'm actually quite confident that you're going to remember it. But even more importantly for my purposes just now, your brain does not discriminate once your curiosity has been sparked. So you want to know the answer to the Google cake question, but your brain is in a state of readiness to learn anything that comes its way. So it means that if your curiosity was sparked by that question, then I've actually managed to trick your brain into encoding everything else I've just said. So you have processed it more efficiently and you'll remember it better later, which is another great reason, at least for me, for asking the question. And here's perhaps the most intriguing and important point of all. When I tell you the answer to the question, which I'm about to do, you are not going to receive a significant further hit of dopamine. Your brain will be busy encoding the information, but it won't necessarily reward you for doing that. Because you've already had the reward, you've already had the dopamine hit just by being curious, just by wanting to know the answer. It's the question that gets rewarded, not the answer. And that that is incredibly powerful. And it really sums up the power and the potential of questions. So my work, my book Q, and this channel are all about questions and power. Fundamentally, the power of questions is the power to change things in our brains, in our lives, in our relationships, and in our societies, for better and also for worse. And at the same time, it's a power that we do not pay enough attention to, but it's one that we can all learn to use. Just like our brains, I think we should be rewarding and valuing questions at least as much as we reward and value answers. And importantly, this means moving away from the answer-oriented world, the one in which we now live, towards a more question-oriented future. So these are big ideas that we're going to be exploring in much more detail on this channel, and I hope you're going to enjoy exploring them with me. And at the same time, I hope that you're going to enjoy and benefit from learning to harness the hidden power of questions in your own life by following my research and implementing the practical advice that I'm going to be offering. We'll be talking about questions in lots of different contexts, dating, relationships, professional meetings, job interviews, in neuroscience, in magic shows, animal communication, robot curiosity, ChatGPT, and so on and on and on. So hopefully this has given you an idea of what my work and this channel is all about. Now, I said I would give you the answer to the Google cake question, so I will do that now. And just fair warning, this could be controversial. So according to Google, the most searched type of cake is a pancake. That's what Google told me. Don't shoot the messenger. And you can thank me for at least not saying Jaffa cake, which could have been a lot more controversial, at least if you're British. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, about my upcoming book Q, or about anything else, I really look forward to hearing them. Please do share in the comments or on social media. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Stay curious.